What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher Jones, a special NBA trade edition. Well, not special because we are going to do the show anyway, but got some trades to talk about. One I'm very excited about, one I know Everett's not going to like. But when I say Everett, I'm joined by my man Everett Terry Jr., Sports Talk Terry Jr., Sports Talk Terry on all social media platforms. And let's jump right into it, E. So a lot of trades, a lot of action, a lot of movement, a lot of Luke Kennard trades, but there was a couple big Luke Kennard level trades. I'll put it that way. There were a couple big trades that caught my eye. But before I get started on what ones that caught my eye, I want to go to what trades you took notice of, for good or bad. You know, if you want to start out bad and go bad, but then try to throw something in there good. But what trades did you take notice of?
So the first trade that kind of jumped out to me happened late in the day, and it was the Clippers, who are in decent position in the West, trading Avika Zubac, a starting center who is averaging a double double, to
Yeah,
the Pacers, who aren't competing for anything
right
on a
now.
team that's not doing anything this year. And yeah, they get Tyrese Halliburton back next year, and they needed to replace Miles Turner. I get it, but I'm just surprised that doing the move now, and I'm surprised for the Clippers because now, I mean, who's going to be their rim protector and their double double guy? I mean, maybe they like some of the young guys. Okay, cool. But if you're a team that has Kawhi Leonard, you trade James Harden, which is my bad trade, which I'll get to in a minute. I don't understand the move there because you take a lot of your competitive desire out of the West, unless they're gearing up for the move that wasn't done, which is Giannis to the Clippers in the summer. Because you got Kawhi, you got back Benedict Mathurin, you got back a ton of picks, you still got Norman Powell, you've got a lot of pieces, and you're going to have money. And who doesn't want to play in LA with Kawhi Leonard? Y'all both around the same age. You go all in, see if you can get there. And Giannis gets a brand new place where he would be marketed like he's never been marketed before in LA, and gets to play against LeBron multiple times a year and all these other different things you get to see in a major market like Los Angeles, and have a legitimate shot of winning in the West. So that was the trade that I thought that was interesting. A good trade for the Pacers. I thought they gave up a lot, giving up BMAT, but I mean, apparently they're building for something else. But the trade that I absolutely hated was from the same team, the Clippers, trading James Harden to the Cavaliers. And I hate this trade for the Cavaliers because I get it. Darius Garland's been hurt a lot this year, but Darius Garland is a two-time All-Star who's 26 years old. Harden is 10 years his senior with more miles on him than a 1992 Buick Skylark and does not
How long you
show
been
up in the
sitting on that joke?
playoffs.
How long you been sitting on that joke? Go
That's
ahead.
my go-to. But he never shows up in the playoffs. You're a team that has Donovan Mitchell, who's also ball dominant, and now you have to tell him to fit into the system with James Harden, who struggles. Yes, you know who's going to benefit from it? Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They'll benefit from it. But you know who won't benefit from it? Donovan Mitchell, because his usage rate is so high. Somewhere there's going to have to be a compromise where Harden is at almost 30%. You can't have him at 30% and Mitchell at 30% with Mobley at 20%. Like, somebody's going to have to take the hit. So I don't know how they're going to make that work and why you would give up a kid that's young with talent to go to the Clippers, which now adds another piece for that summer piece we were talking about. You take back James Harden in a win now move where I don't think they could win the East even with James Harden. So it's like, I don't understand the move by Cleveland, but Cleveland, whatever, they're going to Cleveland. So
All right. A couple of things to unpack there. I noticed the Zubac trade, and you can fact check me on this because I thought that was an interesting trade in the sense that for Indiana, it's all about next year. It's all about next year. It's all about what they're building for next year. But giving up Benedict Mathurin, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I know they got Obi Toppin, who I'm very high on, but he hasn't been the guy that he should have been by this point in his career. So I understand that. I just don't know. Zubac is 14-11. I don't think the Pacers are a team that's going to contend again. Tyrese Halliburton will be back. We'll see. We still differ on him being a top tier talent, but we'll see. Time will tell. I just don't think the Pacers are in line to be a perennial Eastern Conference foe. So giving up that type of draft capital, kind of give me pause for kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I want
especially
this.
in a deep draft. Now
Yeah,
it is protected. I mean, there's some protection in the picks,
well,
but it
it's
was a
top
lot.
4 protected, and then it's top
And
10
then
through
10 to
30
30.
protected.
So they have to
Yeah,
fall
so
between 5 and 10 to keep the pick.
yeah. So I wasn't really. I liked the move, but it wasn't. I felt like they could have. I felt like the Clippers could have got more for Zubac. 14-11, great locker room guy, perennial pro. I felt they could have got more from him. I, on the other hand, absolutely love the Harden trade. I absolutely love the Harden trade. I knew you were going to give. I knew you were going to meet me with disdain on this road, but I don't give a damn. You can roll your eyes all you want, suck your teeth all you want. Doesn't change anything. You still got to pay for dinner. Like I feel like when you look at Harden, this dude ain't out here trying to cure polio. Like he's not going to find a cure for AIDS. He's just out here hooping. And this is where I talk about fact check me. When he was with the Sixers, I think he had a 40 burger in the playoffs. I think he played well in spots for the Clippers in the playoffs. No, he is not going to carry the team. But Donovan Mitchell's wet the bed quite a bit too, my guy. Quite a bit in the playoffs.
So you
With you,
put two bedwetters in the same bed, and what do you get? A wet bed.
but what are the expectations for Harden? That's where the difference is. That's where you and I differ. You hear a lot. Hold on, let me finish. You hear a lot of he falls short in the playoffs. My guy, you get one time to fall short in the playoffs for me, and after that, I don't count on you anymore. So whatever happens, happens. Kawhi Leonard being there, it's Kawhi Leonard not being there because we don't know if he's going to be healthy. Adding Giannis to a team with, last I checked, Bradley Beal was still a part of.
Good night.
Remember that guy? Remember that guy? Remember
Good
your guy?
night.
Oh, that's right. He's another
Good
off
night.
player. So you're getting rid of James Harden and you're accepting that we're going to rebuild. We're going to go after Giannis. We'll see what happens. But if we don't, then we're completely engaged in they don't like to use rebuild. They like to use retool. And if you're James Harden, you're going to an Eastern Conference. While Detroit is a quality squad, no one thinks that no one will be shocked if Detroit lost in the first round or if they made it to the NBA Finals. I think you would agree with me there. No one would be shocked either way. So
Fair.
Harden's got an opportunity to progress in the playoffs. If you take the load away from Harden, you just say, look, he gives me 1 or 2 good games, you're fine. Donovan Mitchell gives me 1 or 2 good games, you're fine. Here's a little secret for everybody in Cleveland. I forget I want to say the head coach's name is Frank, but I can't remember. For some reason, I'm thinking Frank Nitikila, and that's not his name, but he's the
Now
coach.
that's the player, Frank the Tank.
Yeah, he used to coach the Nets, but he's a damn good coach. That team is built around Evan Mobley. It's not built around the guards. Donovan Mitchell's usage rate has been high because Mobley's been in and out of the lineup this year. Going into the playoffs, he should be relatively healthy. They just got rid of DeAndre Hunter, who talk about didn't live up to expectations. I actually like this because you're bringing in a hired gun that you're only going to use in special occasions. You're only going to rely on in certain moments of the game. Harden is still going. If Harden isn't carrying the load in the playoffs, you're telling me he can't give you 15 to 20 points and those 15 to 20 won't be appreciated? Those 2 or 3 timely threes won't be appreciated? Donovan Mitchell giving you 22 to 27 points won't be appreciated? It changes the landscape of the way what the expectation should be, or excuse me, the usage of each player. Floor is yours.
The problem with that is Darius Garland could do the exact same thing and give you 10 more years of his
He
career.
hasn't though. He hasn't though. I hate to interrupt you on that,
He missed
but
6 games last
I
year. What do you want him to do?
purposely didn't bring up Garland. Garland has been hurt this year. Was it a
Just
foot
this year.
eye? A foot? I know he was out last year too in significant
He missed
stretches.
6 games last year.
He was
6.
out last year for significant stretches. The year before for significant stretches. You can fact check me on that. Go through the last 2 years, and he doesn't perform well in the playoffs. He's an undersized guard. Yes, he is explosive in his first or 2 steps. He is as an elite first, but this dude ain't Tyrese Maxey. You're giving up a guy who, quite frankly, if he wasn't in the top 5 pick of the draft, no one would give a damn about. He's a He's a rich man's Dennis Schroeder. That's what he is. That's what he is. And I'm not. I'm not. I'm getting a Hall of Famer, legit guy who, in the regular season, is going to get you 50 wins, and in the postseason will give you 1 or 2 games that'll make you that we know will be high level. And he's not being forced to carry. It's the same thing with anything else. I am getting a Hall of Fame player versus a guy that is a fringe all-star. My bad, I interrupted you. Floor is completely yours. I will not interrupt you again.
The disrespect to call him a rich man's Dennis Schroeder. He's closer to a poor man's De'Aaron Fox than he is a rich man's Dennis Schroeder because he has the burst, the speed, and the explosiveness. Schroeder don't got that. Schroeder's crafty, but he don't have that. Darius Garland has that. Go watch tape of Darius Garland before he came into the league. When he got into the league, he was explosive. He's still explosive. He's been hurt. Okay, everybody in the league's been hurt. Ask me how I know. I've got three fantasy teams, and guys are in my lineup every day for rest. Okay, so guys are always hurt. I don't feed into that. But what I'm saying to you is, yes, they crapped the bed last year and should have done better. But I think that having a cohesive lineup with a healthy front court matters as much as it does to a healthy backcourt with a focus around, like you said, Evan Mobley. I just don't think that Harden comes in and conforms to anybody's system because, in his words, I am the system. That's where the locker room issues are going to start. When you come in and bring in a guy who's made it clear, I am the system at 36 something years old, the man's literally a half decade older, half decade younger than me, and there's no way I'm running around jacking threes and telling teams I am the system. I don't care how many times I can give you 19 and 11. I'm also andale on defense. Like, come on, man. He's a turnstile. He gives you absolutely nothing but one side of the game. And yes, he can have a game where he might give you a 40 burger. I've also seen him give you a clunker where he gave you single digit points in effort and looked like he checked out of the game. You can't win like that in the playoffs. Yes, the East is winnable, but they could have done so much better if they wanted to get an upgrade at the guard position over getting a washed James Harden. Not totally washed, but definitely not the James Harden from Houston. He's not the James Harden from Philly.
All right.
So that's the problem.
Bad. I interrupt you. I apologize. I said I wouldn't interrupt you again. A couple of things to unpack there. You mentioned he's not going to give you much in the playoffs. I'm not expecting. I opened the segment with saying I'm not expecting him to kill. Like, I'm not thinking he's going to lead them anywhere. But what I do
What did he
know
come
is,
there for?
okay, let me finish. I'm not expecting him to give me what I was expecting Garland to give me, which Garland hasn't. You're expecting Darius Garland to be your second and it's sometimes your number one option on offense. Fair point? Accurate assessment? In the
Not
playoffs.
if it's based around Evan Mobley. No, he's the second, third option at best.
We as basketball minds know that team is geared around Evan Mobley. But the average basketball fan, and quite frankly, the analytic dudes think Darius Garland is. So we know that. We know that this team is gearing up for an Evan Mobley decade of dominance. That's what this team is gearing up for. That's why they're bringing him around slow. That's why they're working. You're actually seeing, I'm kind of going off a tangent here, but I just want to say this. One of the worst kept secrets about NBA players is in the off seasons, they work on their games. What people don't know is when those guys come in and like you see a guy like Andre Drummond hoisting threes from the corner, and
he worked all summer.
I was just about to say, and he worked all summer in a locked gym where no one could see the footage. Now, Ben Simmons wanted to show everybody his work, but the average NBA player gets rid of the cameras, gets rid of everything, and locked. What you're seeing Evan Mobley doing in real time is what he's working on in the gym in the summer. So the numbers may not be eye-popping, but you can see the growth in the player. And you can see the guy going, when I saw him, he reminded me of
top 5 at his position.
I was going to say, he reminded me a lot of Kevin Garnett. And if you remember, if you go back to Kevin Garnett's maturation process, it took a few years for him to become the monster guy that he became. That's what's going on with Evan Mobley. That's why I'm saying this team's going. Now, we're not expecting James Harden to do anything. Like, I'm expecting him to come in, have 1 or 2 good playoff games, and the Cleveland Cavaliers will probably be out in the second round. So that's what the expectations are for me.
But they could have got that with Darius Garland, is my point. What's the difference between getting out in the first round, getting out in the second round?
Well, I want to say there's some luxury tax implications there with Darius Garland versus James Harden. Also want to say that there could be some contractual issues. And we know, you can go back and check this. There were reports that there were locker room issues last year, the year before with Darius Garland. Now, there could be locker room issues with James Harden. We'll see. Time will tell. We also know.
Cleveland strip clubs are excited.
Well, Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, Holly Berry's from Cleveland. Carmen Electra's from Cleveland. I'm just saying. You don't need the strip clubs in Cleveland. You just go out in the streets. But you did it again. You took me off road. Bring me back on the road. You can go back and check Donovan Mitchell's record or Donovan Mitchell. There were locker room issues in Utah with him. So this is not like it's not like James Harden's going to be the only prickly dude in the locker room there. But the expectations for me, I think as a team, Cleveland got better because I look at a team that is centered around Evan Mobley, where they're going to try to now the time to play. Now they're going to try to help him get better in the playoffs. That wasn't going to happen with Garland, and I've never been impressed with Garland's game. You refer to him as De'Aaron Fox. I think that's just because you don't watch a lot of De'Aaron Fox. I think that's the only reason. Because De'Aaron Fox, A, is bigger. De'Aaron Fox is an elite defender, not a good defender, an elite defender, and he's a tremendous one top three closers in the game. I think
No,
you got your
no,
no, hold on. You
no,
got your elites.
no.
Let me rephrase that. Amongst the second tier stars, he's one of the elite closers.
What does that mean? How many?
Okay,
Where's the second tier
I don't
star
put
at?
him with a breath. Fair enough. I like to say I don't put him in the breath with a guy like Steph Curry
Joker,
or
Seth,
yeah.
SGA.
I put him. No, I don't put him in that breath. I put him in that Jamal Murray uh,
I would take Jamal Murray over him all day. All
over
day.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yes. Jamal
No,
Murray has showed up when they've needed him to be the closer. Yes.
yeah, no, I wouldn't say that because I think Jamal Murray's had the luxury playing. Which this is not the discussion. The point is I don't consider Darius Garland of that ilk. I think Darius Garland is a fringe all-star. And if I get an opportunity, it's a great Jerry Westco. If I get an opportunity to add a dollar bill and I've got to give up give up 20 nickels, I'm willing to do that. Cleveland added a dollar bill. They gave up a guy. You can say he's not nickels. You can say he's four quarters, but he ain't a dollar bill. He ain't a Hall of Famer. Quite frankly, he'll be a role player in 2 years. Floor is yours. You can close the segment down.
Well, all I'll simply say to that is they're not getting any further to the finals with James Harden as they would have with Darius Garland. All they did was create a different locker room culture, which will probably blow up because that's what Harden does. And they got 10 years older at the point guard position for no reason.
Do me a favor. Can you check and see how long Darius Garland's contract is and how long James Harden's is? And I want to make a point when you do that.
I'm going to check it right
Another
now.
reason, thank you. Another trade I like, and we come back to that. Another trade I really, really liked was what Detroit did. Quietly, Detroit added Kevin Herter. Now that's not a household name to some people, but if you go back to what Herter was as a player, where his strengths were, it was as the fourth option on the team, a guy that could come in, not just shoot threes, but could play well in space. A lot like Austin Reeves for a lot of people. The difference with Austin Reeves could put the ball on the floor. Kevin Herter can't do that. But Kevin Herter is a guy that can score. Go ahead.
So Garland is in his third year of a 5-year, $197 million deal.
Right.
Harden is on a 1-1 with a $39 million contract expiring this year with a $42 million player option for next year. But most people expect him to opt out and get a fresh deal, which is why this deal is terrible for Cleveland. Because if you re-up a 37-year-old man to come play basketball, you're out of your rabbit mind.
They may not re-up him, but let's just say they do re-up him for, let's say, another 1-1. You just got out of you said 5 years, 197 million.
They're 3 years into it, though, so they
Oh
have the
yeah,
same 2 years left.
okay, but they not really because the final year would be for Garland. The final year is it a player option or a team option?
It doesn't say. It's probably just a regular deal, just a
All right,
regular
so
option.
he's in the third year, so he's got 2 seasons left. Harden can
Has
essentially
one.
no this year. This is it because next
Right.
year's a player option. So he Harden Harden at this point is chasing. I don't want to say a ring. He's just chasing playoff teams. Put it that way.
What he needs to do is lower his trade amount and accept some MLE so he can get on a contender who could afford him and be willing to eat him. Like you know where he could go.
Pause.
Yeah, that's a super pause. You know where he could go if he actually lowered his standard just a little bit and wasn't chasing money for his nightlife
Miami.
activities. Where it would have made a lot of sense for him to go and play. That needs a point guard. I actually got two teams in my mind. Milwaukee would have been one since they didn't trade Giannis, and the other one that would have made a
Doc.
lot of sense.
He's gonna go
Boston.
play with Doc. He's gonna go play with
Nah, don't
Doc.
get Doc. No, Listen, Doc's out of there no matter which way this turns. Doc's
He's not out
terrible.
there now. No, I hear what you're saying. We
But when
we've
you're
all
making 40 million,
we've always
makes
different on
hard trading
James
for you.
Harden. We've always different on opinion on James Harden, and I want to go back to my Herder point in a second, but I want to shut this Harden. I understand your point you're making, but when I'm looking at 5 years, 197 million, just real quick, my real quick math, that's three, that's
It's like
three,
38 million.
37,
The money's about the same.
37 million, but it's actually not because you're paying it for the next 2 years. And you're getting a guy, and you can look up how many games he's missed in the last, and not this year, the year before, and you're not getting he's not making the All-Star team. I'm paying him 30. Think about this now, E. I'm paying him close to $38 million, and he can't even make an All-Star team in the East. He can't be, and this is no disrespect. This is no disrespect to Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young when he's out. This is not a shot at
I
them.
mean, which of them guys is he better than? None of them.
That's
He
the
wouldn't be an all
point.
star in the West.
That's the
But
point.
guess,
So I can
but
go,
guess, but guess what? Do you think Harden's really an all star in the West?
no, but I know our Harden is gone next year. I don't have to pay Garland 3 more years. And not only am I not having to pay Garland 3 more years, I don't have to deal with him thinking, key point here, thinking he is in that class. You know what makes Tyrese Maxey so special? Tyrese Maxey thinks he's Darius Garland. And you know what the problem is with Darius Garland? Darius Garland thinks he's Tyrese Maxey. And people can figure that out on their own. Now, I want to go to Kevin Herter.
So he doesn't have a heavy injury history.
Okay. All right. I'm moving on from it.
All right.
Kevin Herter was a guy when he played with Atlanta, he killed the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he was shooting over a chair at some points. You know what I mean? Going to Detroit, got Cade Cunningham. They got rid of Ivy, which
Sucks because I like Ivy.
I was gonna say, but I think he hasn't really. I don't think he's produced well. I think you would agree with
I
me. I think
agree. They also only
he
let him
was
play
injured.
18 minutes a game, which is
Yeah,
hard.
and he was injured, and right now they got a lot going on. But my point is, I think it's Cade Cunningham, and who would be their second option? I know it's not the bias. Who would be their second option? It's
Where?
Kevin Herter. That's what I'm. That's
What
what.
their second scoring option?
Yeah.
Jalen Duran, the Ulcer Thompson, the other Thompson brother. Like they got some guys.
So it's pretty much by committee. So
Yeah,
it'll now be Herter and Cade Cunningham. And we talked about a free agency with it. You talked about the Clippers going after Giannis. Listen, Detroit could theoretically, possibly, make it to the NBA Finals. They also could lose in the second round of the playoffs. I think it's more likely that they make it to the NBA Finals or at least the Eastern Conference Finals, but they could. You got Ja Morant, who wouldn't be a fit there. You got
Can't wait
Giannis,
till we talk about that.
who wouldn't be a fit there. But there's going to be a star that shakes out. I won't say star. There's going to be a guy that's between that Kristaps Porzingis, Trae Young stratosphere that's going to come out. You know what I mean? And we're missing that because we're not hearing it, but he's going to be available. Detroit's positioning themselves to be there. And I love it. I love it. I love that move. And it gives them another guy that can play well in space. And I don't want to say he's a shooter. I don't think he's a shooter.
No, he's a shooter. He's a shooter.
No, I think he can shoot, but he's not a
He's not putting the ball on the floor driving to the hoop. He's a spot up shooter.
I think he can. I think he's
a better Duncan Robinson.
I don't want to say he's. No, I got what you're saying. When I think of shooting, and I feel you, but when I think of shooters, I think of Klay Thompson, and he's not that guy.
There's only one Klay though.
Yeah, but that's what I think of shooters. You know what I want to call him, but people are gonna think like James Harden. I want to say he's a scorer, much like Kawhi Leonard's a scorer. He's not Kawhi Leonard though. He's not Kawhi Leonard, but he's a guy that can
more
get you.
power forward than he is Kawhi Leonard.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to use Kawhi Leonard. But my point is, he can he's a scorer. He's a guy that can get you. But I think Kevin Herter could probably hit close to 20 points a game playing with Detroit. I think he can get you close to 20 points a game.
I think you're overrating Kevin Herter, but
we'll see. But I like that move. A move that I didn't like, move that didn't make much sense. The move that I just like. What the? Why is Anthony Davis in Washington?
Oh, I can answer this. I love that move.
Okay, give me that. And then we'll go to Ja Morant. Give me that.
So, a couple things. Number one, I love what Washington's done. What they've done is position themselves to be big time players next season. They got SAR, they got AD, so
Go
AD
with
gets to play the
the
four.
Wizards.
Hold on, give me a second to finish.
No,
They got,
why he going to the Wizards? Clean
they
that
got.
statement. I need
I'm
you to
getting
address
there.
that.
AD gets to sit there, rehab, sit out the whole season, not have to play B Street clothes because they're not winning anything this year. You got Trae Young coming back next year healthy, AD coming back. They're going to get a top pick in the draft. Don't let them don't let them land AJ or Darren. They get either one of them. They get Daryl or AJ. Now they have a lineup that can compete with Kaishan George, Trae Young, either AJ or Daryl. And then they've got AD at the 4 and SAR at the 5. And they're very, very, very competitive in a soft East. That's why they traded for him. The move made a lot of sense. Where else are you going to go and get him, Anthony Davis, who's still in his prime, though on the back end of it, for peanuts on the dollar? Because the piece they gave up were like, all right.
I'm going to say this to you. We're both in that 90s age bracket for the umpteenth time. Trae Young is not playing for the Washington Wizards. He is not taking the court for the Washington Wizards.
I bet you he will.
When he opts out of his contract, he is going insert team here. He's not going. He is not staying with the Washington Wizards. Now you talk about
Why would he leave? I'm telling you, he's going to play for them.
because he can. He look. I don't know what Trae Young wants out of this point of his career, but I know it's not to be on another 6 to 8 seed and be
That
the
team with that
guy.
roster is not 6 to 8. That team's closer to 4 or 3.
Because Anthony Davis has done that in his career outside of being when he was with LeBron.
Because Anthony Davis would go to a team where if he's playing with Trae Young and he's got Alex Sarr, and then they've got whoever they get in the draft as a rookie, giving them 15 to 18 a game, and Kaishan George, who's a 15 to 18 point per game guy, he gets to be the third option most nights. He can be the second. He's not going to be the first. It's going to be Trae jacking. Okay, cool. He gets to be the second option, 2, and then whatever else the collection of guys get to be number 3. He plays best when he's not the guy. As long as you don't put the pressure on him to be the guy, which was his problem in Dallas, he gets to be the second or third option, like he was when he was in LA. That's when you get the best out of him. That's when he'll be his best. Watch what I say.
Didn't watch what I say. Didn't There's a video out there of Anthony Davis getting hurt playing 2K.
Man, stop it.
I'm pretty
Stop
sure
it.
there's a video out there. I'm
Stop
just
it.
saying, I'm pretty sure there's a video out there with him being straining his thumb ligament playing 2K.
Horrible. Disgusting.
Bro, he's never like it's like, what are we talking about? You know what that is? That's if the Sixers are healthy going, and then late breaking news, Paul George suspended 25 games for using crack. Like y'all are killing me with this, man. The Sixers are never gonna be healthy. Anthony Davis is never gonna lead a team that doesn't have LeBron James on it.
He
It
doesn't
ain't
have to lead him.
happening.
That's the best
Trump
news.
is never gonna get it right. We're never gonna learn about that. Like you want me to keep going and things is never gonna black men are never going to have a 750 credit score. Like, dude, these things are never going to
Speak for
happen.
yourself.
Yes, you're going to keep chasing that, just like you're going to keep saying, well, if the Sixers are healthy, if Anthony Davis is healthy, it's not going to happen. I just went on a rant. The point is, though, like, I was being facetious about the 750 credit score, but the point is, man, Anthony Davis has proven certain things to be facts to hold truth and self-evident throughout his career. He's going to be hurt. That is irrefutable. He is going to be hurt at the worst time. Let's have a little fun here. If Anthony Davis is healthy, the Phoenix Suns never make it to the NBA Finals. But he got hurt pulling an hamstring. You know what I mean? If Anthony Davis is healthy, Boogie Cousins makes it to the Western Conference Finals. But he did the Boogie towards Achilles. Like, dude, these are things that we hold true and self-evident. He's going to get hurt.
That's fair.
Hurt. And if you're Washington, at some point, you got to stop with the Russell Westbrook, the Jordan Poole, I know I'm forgetting another aging starter there. You got to stop trading for these guys. You got to stop trading for these guys. You got to take that money and invest in your scouting and player development. Because you just traded a guy to Portland who, for somehow, some way, wound up being on an all-star team after playing in your organization for like 3 years. Like,
The
come
Denny
on,
of
man.
Deja trade is crazy because he's actually a really good player. But he
But
also has way high usage in Portland. He didn't have that in Washington, which is wild because they didn't have any talent around him. He should have.
Say that last part again, which is wild.
Yeah, it's wild because he didn't have any talent around him. He should have had high usage.
So yeah, it's It was a waste of time. It was activity without achievement. It was a bad trade. And if you're Anthony Davis, it screams to me, and you're gonna think I'm tripping, it screams to me that he's saying, all right, how much longer before I can go back to the Lakers? That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like this trade is. I think he's like, so I gotta wait. What how long before I go to the Lakers? Because the Lakers didn't add anybody. Luke Kennard. I didn't know Luke Kennard was still in the league, bro. Like, and then there's the getting rid of Gabe Vincent when you need defensive minded guards.
Have you seen the video where they say LeBron
Yes,
came into the huddle and then did this with the nod? I said, oh man. The same look he
you're
gave
like
Wade when Wade was out there stinking it up and Bronson was out and looking at him like this. Next thing you know, Wade was gone. I said, that's the look of
few
death. LeBron give you
few.
that look. Hey,
He's like
drive
we keep.
safe.
He's like we can't get stops. We keep stopping, and they're like who? Few moments later, Gabe Vincent. Like what are we talking about, man? All right,
Yo, Rob
quickly,
Pelinka diabolical, man. Something wrong with Bull, man.
quickly. Ja Morant.
Yes.
I'm going to give you, we got 6 minutes left, so I'm going to give you the bulk of this segment because we differ on opinions. But right now, your opinion is the one that holds factual. It's been consistent with what everybody else is saying. So go ahead. I felt like, just a real quick buffer, I felt Ja Morant, we both agreed he wouldn't be traded in the middle of the season. But I felt the Knicks should go after him, especially if they don't produce this offseason. But you have a different train of thought there.
So here's the thing, and you had conversations and talked about Ja Morant. He's this talent, and who wouldn't want him, and this, that, and the third. There is a report that came out from Brian Windhorst of ESPN who stated that, according to sources around the NBA, Ja Morant has what you call negative accrual value, which means they won't even take him back unless there's a pick, a first round pick attached to him. Not because he's not talented, but because he hasn't played up to expectations. He stays hurt, and his off the court antics for the money that he's owed ain't worth the headache of what he's going to bring you. And so this comes back to my point. Oh, you could just bring Ja and throw him with the Knicks. I said they are a team about culture. They're Villanova 2.0, a small school that preached and screamed culture, guys that believe and play and fight for each other. Ja Morant is not that guy you bring into that locker room with those guys and then expect them to win simply because he can fly in the paint, which, by the way, he's done less of this year than any other year in his career, and ironically, still been just as hurt. So, what I'm saying to you is the problem with it is he's turning into a jump shooter who can't
That's a
jump
good
shoot.
point. That's a good point.
He's turning into a jump shooter who can't shoot. He can't attack the rim. Where's the value? Well, the value is in the offseason, Memphis literally offloaded their entire roster and got rid of everybody that mattered, but couldn't get rid of the one guy that they needed to get rid of. That says a lot.
I don't think they tried to trade Ja. You have heard me go on a rant. You're tired of hearing me talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't. What is Kendrick say? I hate the way that you talk, the way that you walk, the way that you dress. I hate everything about Jaren Jackson's game.
That
I
trade is
hate the way.
crazy, too.
And what? Though he is 8 feet tall and averages 5 rebounds.
Because he
I
shoots threes.
you
Yeah, he
can
won
shoot
DPOY.
threes and still rebound. Moving along, you're not going to do that. The bigger issue with Ja is this: you are gonna have to change your locker room if you bring him in. And you had two great lines. The first one is the Knicks are about culture. That's cute. That's great. You know what I need them to be about? Championships. And unfortunately, a warm and fuzzy, hardworking, peanut butter and jelly, lunch pail culture don't get you diddly poo but 55 plus wins and an early exit out of the playoffs. You need talent. That's what they need. And then you had another line with he hasn't getting in the paint, but ironically he's been just as much hurt. Yes, yeah, yes. But I have told you this on the first show we did back in the day when you had on glasses and you were about 40 pounds lighter. And you can run the tape and you'll remember this. I said this, and I stand on it. You cannot win with a play. You cannot win when you don't have talent. And all this camaraderie, kumbaya stuff only goes so much until you win. And until you win, none of that stuff matters. So, the Knicks are the try hard, the little tanks of the NBA. Yes. And then another thing, man, really get into the whole Paul Zesty thing. But we gotta get somebody with base on my front line, man. Because Karl Anthony Towns is killing me. He's killing me. He's killing me. He's killing me, E.
The thing
He's
is, this
killing
is the
me, E.
worst kept secret. He's been that way since Kentucky.
You know, but he's a
That's
good
why
player.
Jimmy was checking him in practice in Minnesota.
just because you ugly don't make you hard. So Jimmy Butler can go ahead with that old checking himself. It's just I need more masculine energy. Is that better? Is that more of a politically
You ain't
correct?
gonna get that from him.
No, but I need that in my front line. I need that in my front line. That's the point. And you add John
That's why they
Morant.
should have pulled the trigger on the trade for Giannis.
No, I didn't. Well, we don't have enough time. We need to do a whole show on Giannis and why I just don't know if Giannis is going to be traded, man. I just don't.
He's getting traded in the offseason.
Yeah, we'll see. I just don't. But yeah,
Oh,
and
they'll
you
get the world for him now because people have money and picks and everything and know where they are. Yeah.
yeah, but
They're
that's
not
why I
gonna
think
lucre
John
this
and
thing.
Knicks. That's why I think John and Knicks is a perfect fit. But we will see. We will see. I never thought he was going to be traded in the middle of the season though. And Memphis, much like New Orleans, they wet the bed with their talent. You know what I mean? He is a talent, and he is a talent that comes with a lot. He comes with a lot. Like I'm not gonna hold. You're right. He's a lot of bis, but he's worth it. He's worth it if right, and you can get him
That's a
right.
good man, Savannah. Because that's what you sound like.
Well, you know what? But
I
you can
ain't
get him
saying
right.
that. I'm lighting
You
the car on
correct.
fire outside with the cops pulling up.
Well,
That's
you
not
can
a
get him
good
right.
man.
You can get him right, and you can make it happen. And when they go out in the second round, we'll have the Villanova 2.0 Kumbaya. It's too much hugging and kumbaya in the next
I think they get to the Western Conference Finals.
the Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern, yeah, Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sorry.
And on that note, that's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you like the podcast, make sure you share, comment, subscribe, whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. He's Everett Terry Jr. I'm Kwame Fisher Jones. Till next week, appreciate your time and year. You be easy.